All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Match Week 36. We got a lot to talk about, starting briefly with the Premier League, where the 5 and perhaps 6-way battle for Champions League is about all we got left. Chelsea may or may not be on the come up. We'll get to that soon. Halftime will involve a Donnarumma-related weekly what if. Around the world, of course, we will set the table for the massive Champions League and Europa League semifinal second legs coming up this week, as well as, of course, the MLS Minute, and then stoppage time with Evan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We got the whole squad here. Look good, feel good, hopefully talk good. Well, we're going to play a little game this week with our introductory questions called Which Game Did Mikey Enjoy Most last week? So as everybody knows who was on the podcast last week or listened, Mikey was not on the podcast because he was gallivanting around the British Isles, seeing a whole bunch of high-quality soccer matches. These included the Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa FA Cup semifinal, the Leeds versus Plymouth championship game, and Arsenal versus PSG in Champions League, if I'm not mistaken. So we will start. We'll go around the whole squad here. Mikey, you're last. So Mitch, let's go with you, a.k.a. Overtime Mitch or Mr. Mitchell Goulet, whichever one you prefer. Which of those 3 games do you think Mikey enjoyed the most?
I want to say the Leeds game. Given the company and the hospitality he must have experienced during that had to have been, I guess, the easiest game to attend, and they won, correct? So, I'm going to go Leeds game.
Okay, fair enough. And keep in mind, this was a Palace-Villa game that was quite an interesting, quite a good game in the FA Cup semifinal. Then you obviously have an Arsenal Champions League game. So those are the other ones on the docket here. So Tyler Terrence, which game did Mikey enjoy most?
I'm going to go ahead and say that he's going to eventually say the Crystal Palace Villa. He was rooting really hard for Palace to get to the final, and I think that he is a huge fan of that storyline. He doesn't want to make it seem obvious with the Leeds thing, so I think he's going to eventually say that it was the Palace Villa game by the end of his explanation of the whole thing.
Okay. I can actually see Mikey giving us a circuitous answer on this, and I like that about Mikey. Tommy, last never least, Mr. Tommy McCabe, a.k.a. Tommy McGunner. Which of the 3 games do you think Mikey enjoyed the most?
I already asked him this, so if he changes up his answer, he's a lying son of a bitch. But it's Palace semifinal.
Mikey?
It was the Palace semifinal for sure.
Now, everybody else, I mean, at least some people are going to wonder why it wasn't an Arsenal Champions League semifinal. You got to give us a little
the atmosphere. I mean, we could talk about it all day. It was really, really bad. Really, really bad.
PSG brought the thunder, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I have to tell you something, Sam, because I did something for the pod while I was there. Before the Leeds match, I was introduced to Michael Bridges, a forward that played for Leeds and then played in the A-League. And I asked him, I go, hey, I'm a part of a group that bets on the A-League overs.
Part of a group.
I have to know what the secret sauce is. Like, why are there so many goals in the A-League? Can you guess his answer?
They drink too much Foster's.
He said the defenders are fucking shite.
I like how you said I'm part of this group that bets on the A-League. Like I'm part of this overs syndicate that strictly pulls our money to bet on overs in the A-League.
I thought he was going to give me some answer that was like in depth and detailed. He goes, no. He said, if you're a forward in Europe and your career's dwindling, just go to Australia and you'll bag them in.
I suppose he would know. He might know. Well done. Good job. Listen, anytime you can get some little inside scoop on A-League, you've got my attention. Well done, sir. All right. Premier League time, where the burning question, in my mind anyway, is not why Tottenham Hotspur are so fucking shite, as Mikey would say. The question is whether we have a 5-team battle for 3 slots for Champions League next season, or due to recent events, do we have a 6-team battle for 4 slots? Mikey, I think you go first.
16 battle for 4 slots.
That doesn't sound like a reverse jinx. That sounds like an honest opinion.
I think it's an honest opinion, truly.
Go ahead, Tyler.
You genuinely think that Arsenal have a possibility of falling out?
I certainly do. Look at their results and then look at their fixtures.
I mean, I'm entertaining it, Tyler.
Okay.
You don't think you think Arsenal's going to drop out?
I don't.
Yeah, Sam, you really do?
I don't think that you will. I do think it's a possibility. I mean, you know, you got to play Liverpool this weekend. Then you got to play Newcastle. I mean, your fixture list is tough. And also, oh, by the way, you could still be in Champions League and have that sort of hanging over you. So, yeah, I do think it's an outside shot. But
that'll end up being a better thing for that club than getting knocked out, in my mind.
Okay. Let's just put it here. You keep talking about the fixture list. They play Southampton last.
Yeah,
and
tough.
if they win that game, they're 9 points ahead of Forest, who is in 6th right now with this ongoing result, which if that holds, they're locked.
Right. This would sort of basically, we would need Forest to win that game, and then it would be a little bit more on the table.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point. And the reason I asked this, of course, is, the Bournemouth game this weekend, where you guys lost at home 2-1 to Bournemouth. And this is after the Wednesday game where you drew with Crystal Palace. Now, neither one of those teams are Southampton. But, at the same time, they're not Liverpool either. Okay. So now that we've gotten the 6-team versus 5-team game, or at least a talking point out there, Tyler, from the weekend, what was your most interesting result?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Chelsea over Liverpool, and I want to take away the hungoverness of Liverpool for a second. The intensity in which Chelsea came with was appropriate for the moment, and you could tell when the goals were flying in and the exclamation mark. They knew what was at stake, and those guys rose to the moment. So it wasn't so much the result. I knew we were going to lose that game. There was no chance we were going to win it. And if we did, then there's something wrong with the club. Like I would have been really upset if we came out and looked really sharp. Like I would have been like, where's my team? Like, why didn't we celebrate properly?
I love that approach.
What a spin zone. That's an incredible
spin zone. You think I give a fuck what you think of it? It's sitting in 20th place right now for Spurs about what you think about my club's mentality or how I view my club after winning a Premier League title. Does it look like I care? No, but it's Chelsea. It's Chelsea's approach more so than the result and their sort of their energy and intensity throughout the game.
I didn't even put together, Tyler, that this was celebration Tyler. Now it makes total sense. This is champion Tyler right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's going to be the worst few months of our lives, boys. Get ready for it. I agree with you. That's the game I would have gone with, Chelsea-Liverpool. I feel like this Chelsea team, it feels like we've stuck a fork in them multiple times throughout the course of the season. Like, I feel like they've been talked about in the same breath as like, and not right now, but at times over the course of the season as a Manchester United and as a Tottenham. Whereas they do not belong in the conversation with those type of crap teams. So I'm very impressed, and I mean that more as a compliment to Chelsea as opposed to Liverpool,
Sure.
Tottenham sort of back.
But I also,
Tyler's backhanded compliment. Go ahead.
But I don't really offer anything else.
That's true.
I also think that has to do with the fact that the coefficient got changed and there was another Champions League spot opened up. I do think that if this was 4 right now, my money would still be on Newcastle to qualify over Chelsea. Like I would still say Chelsea are not a top 4 side in my opinion. But even though they're level with Newcastle on points right now, I just would prefer Newcastle to Chelsea. But I think that the other Champions League spot allowed us to have a different perspective on this team, and it certainly is going to help them a lot financially.
I mean, they've got enough levers. They could pull something. I've got no question, no qualms about them being just fine financially. Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Mitch, on either Chelsea, Liverpool, or any other games?
I think we have talked about them in the same manner, which we talked about United and Spurs this season, but I don't think either United or Spurs would have been capable of marching into Liverpool with that mentality and getting this result this weekend. So like they are a step above that. Let's be clear there. But I think the reason we've talked about them in that manner is because of the spending and because of the caliber of player that they supposedly have. That was an interesting one. Brentford 4-3 over United was a fun one. Just goals. United got that last one late, which made it look closer than it actually was. But I think that was Brentford's game for the most part. Other results, I don't know. I was only able to watch the first half of that Arsenal game, and not even the full first half. Like I got the notification for the first Bournemouth goal, and I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, guys, what are we doing? I'm a bit of like a masochist, but I'm happy that we've already lost to the league. Like I would not want us to be marching into this weekend, giving Liverpool the chance to beat us to win the league. That would not be good for my headspace.
That would suck.
That was one thing I had written down about the Liverpool Chelsea game. Do you guys think that the guard of honor can be a motivator in that sense? Like, do you think that I mean, like, it has to be, right?
Madueke didn't clap.
Who?
Like focusing on who does and doesn't clap.
I mean, it's a story, right? I know one thing: Tommy McCabe would clap. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. That's very true.
No, I mean the motivator is that you have a chance to beat Liverpool, and it'll go down in like those graphics for beating top 6 teams, and we beat Liverpool. Like it's they want to beat Liverpool, and you're not playing a team that's really caring. So that's the motivator. It's the guard of honor. Stupid. Do they have to do it again? It's just one, right?
No.
I think it's every game.
It's every game, and we happened to do it 4 games before the season was over. So
No,
line them up, son.
That's
I think it's just funny how it's been deemed as like the classy thing to do, when in my eyes it's like shithousery of the highest order.
Totally.
Like my fiance and I play Monopoly Deal all the time, and I wanted to institute a rule, and we keep a tally of how many games each of us has won. Like I wanted to institute the rule that if you say lose 2 out of 3, you have to go put up 1 tally for the other person. Like you have to do the walk of shame to the side note pad on the refrigerator, and you have to be the one to make the tally for the other person. And that's what I feel like this is. It's deemed as classy, but really it is the most humiliating thing you can do to somebody.
It's exactly it. And that's why I really thought that Chelsea doing that made it give them that little extra,
It's mean.
motivator.
It's really mean. Yeah.
You know who didn't have to give Liverpool a guard of honor? That would be Tottenham. We just gave them our butt and let you do what you please.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Way better, Sam. Awesome. Next.
I meant to say my girlfriend, but I don't know.
What?
Anyway,
Hey, Tyler, can we get weekly updates in the Discord of this Monopoly deal tally?
Oh, I'm
Like
getting.
every Sunday night, you have to send in that week's results.
Yeah, I'll just let you know right now. I'm getting smoked. I'm down like 8 or 9 right now.
You play 1-on-1? What is that? Like, isn't that a group game?
Yeah.
No, you can play 1-on-1. We play 1-on-1 all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Heyo.
Tyler, if this makes you feel old or this makes my parents feel young, my parents play this 1-on-1 weekly or daily, like you and you.
And they probably
know if it's cool.
have a great relationship, and they've been happily married for like 35 years. Yeah. No, it's a great reset. I believe in healthy competition within a relationship. I think it's very, very good.
Sam, can I give you a result?
yeah.
We would be in the midst of talking about the offloading of a ton of money if Villa didn't beat Fulham this week. They're in a free
Yes,
fall.
that's a good point. You've made that point before, and I think I kind of forgot just the kind of situation they're in financially. If they were,
It's as must win as it gets in the league right now. Is them.
And they're playing like dog shit.
I know.
they're just
They
playing
look
like
terrible.
they're tired. They look like they've run out of gas.
There's like 3 games left. Figure it out. Like, I'm just this whole tired at the end of the season thing. Like, just fucking dig deep. You get paid millions of dollars to do this. Go sit in an ice tub and just fucking reach down and see if you can find some balls for like 270 minutes. Like, it's 270 minutes for the rest of your life. Like, you're either going to like play for this club next year, you're going to play Champions League football, or you're going to be fucked off and told that we can't afford you, you're going to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm talking to you, Leon Bailey. Like, it's very, very simple. Very
Talking to you,
simple.
Marco Asensio.
Fair enough. Listen, I actually agree with that sentiment, but I'm just pointing out they do look like they're tired, and they're a team that, as much as their hopes were to go far in the Champions League, I don't know if they really saw themselves going to the quarterfinal of the Champions League this year.
Well, we talked about it. They would have loved to be in the Europa League this year compared to that
Oh my God,
Champions
they'd be cruising to a final.
Listen, we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't jump the gun here, boys. Now, anything else from the top 5 battle? Newcastle drew with Brighton. Palace, is the game over yet, by the way?
No,
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so
1-1.
Palace is still 1-1 in the 90th plus, which is probably why Peaches is not in the chat at this point. Okay, so we'll see how that ends up. Obviously, we'll see. Now, before we get to, so we'll be done. Any other results you guys want to touch on quickly?
None
That's
of
a
them.
no. All right, now before we get to the FPL update, it is time for a little word from our sponsor, from the best in the game when it comes to soccer tennis, kickit.org. Tyler, give us a little word from our friends.
Listen, summer months are here. I've been telling you this for months. I've been telling you this from the cold, barren winter months of Cincinnati. I've been saying this is the game you want for the summer months. I've been telling you this. You have not been listening to me. There's been a few who have been listening and using the code SAM25 and heading to kickit.net and getting the basic soccer tennis set and doing it and adding that discount on top of the discount that was already featured on the website. Well, that's gone now. Now you just have the 10% that you're going to have with SAM25. And I'll tell you what, even if you didn't have the discount code, you still want to go and get it. We've got pictures flying in the Discord right now, which, by the way, if you're not signed up for that, why on earth wouldn't you be? It's a bag of chips monthly to be signed up and have basically the greatest soccer community possible to watch games and to be able to talk shit to Mikey, to Tommy, to Mitch, and to Sam, and to do whatever you want with his butter Spurs or whatever he's talking about. That's not the point. The point is that you need to head to kickit.net and purchase your basic soccer tenor set, because you're gonna send me pictures over the course of the summer from the beaches of wherever you are, the parks of wherever you are. You're gonna be like, Tyler, thank you so much. Thank you for constantly being my ear about this. And it's not because I'm paid to do so, but it's literally because I genuinely feel this way. Sam25, kickit.net, basic soccer tenor set. You're not gonna regret it. You're welcome. You must have it.
Don't even need to have a good touch anymore, as Tyler has said many times. All right, we will move on to a quick FPL update and maybe some cup dates. Let's see quickly. Is anybody left? Is anybody still alive in? Okay, well, there's a lot of people here. Okay, and is that both the Discord specific one or the podcast general one?
I am, barring a last-minute hat trick from Mateta, I am in both.
Ooh, well done, Mitch. I'm actually now out of both officially, assuming I got knocked out. Unless there was like a red card for Eze in the last few minutes there. I think I'm out of
Can we
all
talk
the
about
cups.
that penalty real quick? Most illegal penalty I've ever seen in my life.
Too many stutters.
Yeah. It wasn't a stutter. It was a full standstill. He read the newspaper, had a cup of coffee, and then put it to the left. Like,
I'm actually with you on that. I'm usually, obviously vehemently anti-GKU, but this whole stutter and basically stop your run-up thing is so ridiculous. We got to put it.
I'm engaged in a heated battle right now with Barcode, aka Al Adkins, in the round of 16 in the overall cup. And I'm on 42 points. He's on 41 with the game hopefully about to go final. Even if we tie and he gets one of those extra bullshit points that they just make up out of thin air, we're also tied on goals for. So it's going to go to like some sort of virtual coin flip bullshit, which is the second week that the second time in the last 3 rounds that I'm going to be involved in like a tiebreaker for these cup games. It's electric. Absolutely electric. And keeping my mind off our poor domestic play, a la Spurs, a la Manchester United. I'm trying to lift a trophy. I don't give a fuck what's going on in the league anymore.
okay.
Fair enough. You guys are still alive. You're doing well. Mikey, Tommy, you guys are
I got a confession.
alive?
I've been hunting Tommy, and I forgot to set my lineup this week, so that went well.
Dude, I don't think I did well either. I had Murillo on my bench this week.
I had Cole Palmer on my bench. I fucked up this weekend too.
I kept Cunha away to City, so...
Let's see. Where are we in the? Let me go back to the league real quick and give a quick update on.
I'm in last. That's all you need to know. I'm lining up TikTok dances.
Cody GAKPO.
All right. In the full cup or the full podcast league at the moment, Our top 5 is still the top 3. Patrick Kelly with Magnus, number 1. Luke McCulloch, Anna Cortez, 2. And Rob Carey with Cunnilingus, number 3. We had a change at number 4. Mike Evans in Eurovision moved up into 4th
Mike
place.
Evans.
And Christopher Frost, No Hair No Mo, is in 5th. Now, we do have a Discord specific league. Again, everybody needs to get in the Discord by getting in the Patreon. If you're not there, what are you doing with your life? Shout out to Anang Parekh, who is in 1st place with Califurication, followed by Matthew Perry.
I have a comment on our Discord FPL chat.
Oh.
Clearly, none of us know shit about ball because I am 110th in the podcast league, but 4th in the Discord league. So,
We're
just
all up
my own understanding of the 2 leagues, we don't know ball.
Tommy, that just tells me there's a lot of listeners that aren't on the Patreon.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hearing.
so.
Yeah. Sounds like nonsense. Sounds like nonsense to me.
Sounds like if you do know ball, you should tell us a little bit about what you know in the Discord.
You should pay us to tell you about how much ball you know.
Yeah. Pay to tell me who to pick to beat you.
Well, as Tyler has already teased here, the only talking point that really matters in the FPL universe at this point is who finishes last in the Council of Elders TikTok FPL league. So right now, McGunners is still, I wouldn't say comfortably, you're only 13 points up on Mikey at the moment. So that's kind of close. I'm 40 points behind Mikey, but comfortably in 3rd place. From there's a little bit of a jump down to 4th and 5th, which is going to be a real dogfight coming down the stretch here. Mitch is on 2,024 points. Tyler Terrence is on 2,001 points. So you have 23 points. I assume that's before today. I don't know if anything's changed there.
I've got a free hit stashed away.
Oh, do you? I wild carded this week. I really put all my chips in.
Yeah.
And we had a good
I love
week,
watching
58.
guys that have FPL punishments sprint through the last 3 weeks like they should have for the first 35. It's amazing.
I put so much effort. I'm putting
so much. I'm
shit.
checking. I'm like scouring the FPL page, right? Like if I had just taken it seriously for 10 weeks from November through January, I'd be fine.
That's incredible.
It does focus the mind. It does concentrate
So
the attention these last few weeks. All right, we'll leave it there. Now, quickly, before we move on to halftime, there's some interesting games coming up this weekend. So this is game week 36. That means this was, let's see, 3. There's 3 weeks left, 36, 37, 38. I can do math. Big games on the battle for top 5. We have Bournemouth and their little giant killers recently. Bournemouth is hosting Aston Villa. Mikey's already pointed out why that is absolutely huge for Aston Villa at this point. Game of the weekend, though, Newcastle hosting Chelsea in a battle of 2 teams with all to play for. Chelsea still actually has Conference League as well to play for. Other games, Forest hosting Leicester and Liverpool hosting Arsenal, which you guys have already talked about. Got to talk about Newcastle, Chelsea. Tyler, any thoughts on that one?
I fancy Chelsea. I feel like Newcastle have sputtered over the last few weeks, and I think that they might be sort of feeling what's going on right now, which is the closeness of this race. And this is all coming off of the Villa win, because that ended Newcastle's streak of being arguably the hottest team in England, and then I don't know, last couple of weeks I've just been pretty unimpressed, and particularly the game against Brighton. Always a difficult place to play, and that's the furthest trip that you can make, arguably, in the Premier League is going from Newcastle to Brighton. But talk to me when you have to go from Vancouver
which in a relative sense
to Miami.
Like, absolutely nothing.
But anyway, I like Chelsea in this game, which I would rather see Newcastle in Champions League than Chelsea, but that's just me.
Okay. Anybody? Tommy, haven't really heard from you much. Any thoughts on Newcastle, Chelsea, or any of those other games?
Yeah, I think going to St. James Park when there's something on the line, give me Newcastle. And then Bournemouth Villa, I think, will be fun because Bournemouth is still kind of fighting for some sort of. Oh, I hear it on the broadcast. I don't really know how the hell this is going to go down, but they're still fighting for Europe in a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
If some other stuff goes on.
I mean,
And
they're only 7
I
points
think it
behind
was
Villa.
Yeah, I think it
All
was
it is if City wins
Oh,
FA Cup,
Okay.
Yeah,
and then it just bumps everything down.
yeah, and if I think it was Lee Dixon who said this or someone else, but like those are the clubs that should be in the Premier League going to Conference League. A Brighton, Brentford, a Bournemouth, Fulham. Like I think it's great. So I would watch out for that one.
Nice. Fair enough. Mitch, any thoughts? We head on. All right. We will hit the halftime where before we get to the weekly what if, got to get a couple quick thoughts or words from our peoples over at the Arc Designs. Tyler, you want to hit us with that one too?
Yeah, Arc Designs, family run and owned company in lovely Loveland, Ohio, and they have all of your needs if you are in the market for some 3D laser engraved coasters, calendars, but particularly the coasters that can feature your favorite sporting teams across any sport, whether it be the beautiful game or football or basketball, NCAA, NFL, NBA. I think they probably would even do G League if you really wanted to, and that's because they have the customized option on their website, which is arcdesigns.com, ARCK Designs.com. And if there's a stadium that they don't have on there, you can simply just use the customized toggle. You can say, I want Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which I'm pretty sure they already have. You could say, I want the Emirates, and I want the particular rendering of the Emirates where the atmosphere sucks, as you heard from Mikey earlier, and that's why they're not a proper club. But anyway, that's not here nor there, and I'm getting off track. arcdesigns.com. Code SAM25. Sound familiar? Same one as Kick It. Head over there today and get a little gift for your loved one, for yourself, or for anybody. Arcdesigns.com, SAM25.
Well played. Well played. Listen, if you get a little gratuitous shot in at Arsenal, all the better. I got no problem with that. By the way, that does remind me, we're going to get the winner of the NCAA pool for Sam's Army, our Michael Grubbs. Yes, our Michael Grubbs. We're supposed to get him one. We got to get him two, right? You can't just get one.
Two. We'll get him two.
You got to get two. Okay.
Get two.
So our Michael Grubbs, I'm going to have to get your address and we'll get you some coasters. Okay, moving on to weekly what if time. So this obviously it'll become obvious where this question came from, but we got to talk about Donnarumma, the PSG goalkeeper, who is just a gigantic human being. I actually don't have the metrics on what his wingspan and height and whatever it is, but I'm pretty sure that we've never seen a bigger human being in net before. This guy is just absolutely gigantic. And my question is to all of you, all of us who at one time or another were actual soccer players, Tommy still is. Weekly what if you had 10 penalties to take on Donnarumma, how many would you make? You go first, Mitch.
Damn, I want to hear the professional footballers answer first so I can gauge whether or not I can be
Do you want me to go first?
No, I want
No.
Mitch to go. I want Mitch to go.
No, let me go first. To qualify all this as well, Donnarumma is 6'5", and I'm assuming his wingspan is more than 6'5". We'll call it 6'7", 6'8".
Fucking pterodactyl.
Yeah, the dude is massive. I am scoring.
You
I'm
got
scoring
nervous
2
enough.
penalties out of 10 on Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Oh,
Did you say two?
you mental midget.
I'm scoring 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Mitch,
Yeah.
I would even give you more than that.
Would you?
Yeah, I think I would. I'd give you at least 3.
I don't know, man.
Just gotta, he can't guess right. Well, I mean, he's big enough that he probably wouldn't guess on
He's
any
a
of
good
us.
penalty saver as well, though. He's not just guessing. He's reading my hips. And I, as a non-professional footballer, don't know how to disguise my penalties like, say, a professional footballer would. Now, if I was allowed the leniency of Eze in that penalty and I could stop and do a little disco two-step, then maybe I could see myself scoring 3 or 4. But I think if all is legal, I am slotting home 2 penalties. I think I'm really putting my foot through one of them and getting lucky and like going top left. And then another one, I'll really open up my hips and go side netting on the right. But anything other than that, I think it's within his reach. 2 out of 10.
I think if you're just sort of in the mental mind frame that you can only, if you hit 2 or more, you're good. You should just put your foot through all of them. I mean,
Okay.
just fucking crush it. You'll probably do more than 2. All right, but your number's 2. Tyler, how many do you think you're making?
7.
I knew you were gonna say. I knew you were gonna say 7.
Acting different.
Sam, you've played soccer with me. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's fucking strike a ball. And I, unlike Mitch, have a little bit of experience with being able to disguise some penalties. I have one move that I can go to, in addition to the fact that I think that if I convert on the first one, I'll have him guessing after that. And as long as I convert on the first one, I think I'll be able to mentally maneuver my way to 7.
Mentally maneuver. That would be some serious maneuvering.
And the fact that, like, I'm not a stutter step guy. I fucking put my foot through the ball. I don't mess around with this new age bullshit. I'm just not into it.
He's left-footed too. Changes it up.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. 7 is high. I was going to say 6, but now I have to say no. I'll stay with 6 because I'm a humble individual. But 7. I'm still. My mind is a little mentally warped. In fact, I'm actually the biggest thing. The most interesting thing you said was not that you'd make 7, but that if you made the first one, you'd be in his head. Which I don't think any one of us is getting in Donnarumma's.
No, but at least my strategy would be first one, I'm pounding up the middle. Or I'm just hitting it hard, and hopefully it's like 2 or 3 yards to the left, to the right, where if he dives on either side, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to lift it too, so just in case he tries to, come away with a cheeky leg stretch or something like that. But then after that, he's like, he now knows that I'm capable of going down the middle. He knows I can hit it with pace, and then it's a guessing game from there for him. And I have one little move where I can look like I'm going, where I'm going to open up my hips and I can close them off at the last second and hit it to the bottom right. That was my move in school. So.
Okay. All right. My move was the opposite, where I'd look like I was closing it and then I'd open it up. But I hear you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy, professional athlete du jour. Actually, not du jour, but of the group. Our representative of the actual athlete community at this point. How many of 10 penalties are you making on Donnarumma?
He's reading all of our hips, without a question. I did a little research as you guys got your answers through. He's faced 103 PKs in game and in shootouts, and he has saved 24 of those. The average, this just on the Premier League, the average goalkeeper saves 16 to 21 out of 100. My initial gut feeling before any of you answered was 6 or 7. And I'm sticking with that.
Now,
I think he has.
I need a number from you though, 6 or 7, because you got 7.
Okay,
Tyler's 7.
Actually,
I'm 6.
One of my questions for this is, how long do I have to prepare? Because I don't normally take pens. But if you gave me you're taking pens this weekend against Donnarumma, I would maybe take 3 to 5 after each session, and just to get into the rhythm of that.
Get a week to prepare.
Then I'll back myself for 7, but it's a soft 7.
We love soft 7s on this podcast.
Oh, soft 7. All right. Okay. All right. We'll see what the people think about that. We might get some talk on the chatter on the Discord, I'm sure, at some point. All right. Round the world time, where we really got to talk about the Champions League and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, the Europa League as well. But the Champions League is where we will start. We have 2 Tweedles here coming off of an interesting game at the Emirates where PSG came in. They won 1-0. Close game, I think, by most measures, maybe every measure. Mitch, what are your thoughts going into this second leg?
Oh, nothing I can say that hasn't already been felt by Arsenal fans. I think we have a healthy respect for what PSG can do on the counter, and even off the counter, even in build-up. But I think crazier shit's happened. I think we can. If anybody's going to come down from 2-0, I think it's us, and I think it's this team. I think everybody has to be on their game. It's going to be a hostile environment, unlike the Emirates, apparently. I was still shocked to hear that people left early. I didn't see any footage of that, but Mikey confirmed it. That's dreadful. You as a fan should be embarrassed if you're leaving the Emirates before final whistle in a Champions League semifinal. Grow up. What did you pay for? Why'd you even go? But other than that, I think we'll have a healthy amount of respect for them. I don't know, man. What do you want me to say?
Say what you feel.
I feel scared.
Who's a bigger underdog?
I feel like
Knicks or Arsenal?
Knicks are way bigger underdog. We can have that conversation in best bets. But watching those games, I feel Arsenal is the fourth best team remaining in the Champions League. That's how I feel.
Agreed.
Okay. Tommy, any rebuttals or accentuations?
I don't think it's everyone's saying like, oh, this has to be some crazy comeback. They're down 1-0. Like you have to get to extra time at winning 1-0. Like I think that's reasonable and that's fair. And I think Arsenal would be mistaken if they come flying out of the gates trying to get a goal in the first 20 minutes. Because I think there's a greater likelihood that they give one up in that time than them scoring. And then you're fighting for an uphill battle. And then are we talking Barca Inter too, or just Arsenal?
Oh yeah.
I think that one, I hope that one's more open. Whereas Arsenal, I think the same in the first leg. Arsenal PSG might be a bit more flat. You might get the late game heroics, the extra time and everything, but I think Barca Inter is just going to be a more fun game. And I don't think Arsenal is the worst of the four teams. I think they're the least experienced of the four in this position, and obviously have some key injuries, and that makes a huge difference. Like it's hard to say that any of these teams are worse than the other. I think all three of those teams have experienced big game moments more together than Arsenal have, and that's some of the difference you've seen.
Well, that's a good segue to the Barca Inter game, which the first leg was absolutely bonkers. 3-3 was the final score. Inter, I don't know how they scored 3 goals in that game, but credit to them for doing so. Tyler, any thoughts on that matchup?
I was on SiriusXM immediately following that match with Eric Winalda, and we had like literally a 90-minute discussion out of our 3-hour show about the first leg and then what to expect from the second leg, and these concepts of like, if you're Inter fan, are you upset the fact that you gave away 2 leads in that game, one of them being a 2-0 lead? And I'm like, you know what? Inter came into that game in some really shit form. They hadn't kept a clean sheet in like 6 or 7 games, which is their MO. Thuram just barely got fit, and you could see how much he was laboring towards the end of his stint. I mean, he could barely run by anybody, and I was like, Inter should feel really proud of the fact that they scored 3 goals on the road, and the 3 goals that Barcelona scored, were worldies. Like, were really, really good fucking goals. So probably the greatest first leg in Champions League knockout round history. And that's also to say because nobody remembers first legs from these things anyway. Hansi Flick doesn't know how to play any other way. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, his group is going to play the same way every single time. So I fully expect this leg to look somewhat similar. But I think Barca are gonna take it. I think Inter are just not playing their best football right now, and engaging in a shootout with Barca over 2 legs, I feel like Barca is going to come away with that. Just at ground level, like the easiest way to break this game down. I'm like, Barca are going to find more ways to score. Although we're good on set pieces in the first leg, and Barca's been dog shit at defending them. So you never know what can happen if that's going to come into play as well.
Tommy, looked like you had something to add there.
Yeah, did any of you guys read the Transfer Flow article about Lamine Yamal?
How was the worst player on the field in that game?
Yeah, like they have a stat like that's on ball value, which just basically adds up all the actions you have on a field and then assigns a value. And he was the worst player for Barca, and just they're saying that was like basically data doesn't give the whole story when someone is a superstar like him. But my second point on that, which you started to see after halftime, or as the first half wore on, it was literally 1v3. And so if Barca has a solution for attracting 3 players with Yamal and what it opens up on the other side, they could be devastating. Because I've heard both Inzaghi and Bastoni say it in press conferences before tomorrow, that they're going to continue to send 2 to 3 guys over. And so,
but Rafinha really didn't have much to say in either half. I mean, he really was not all that involved.
To your point, like the way he attracts players I don't necessarily think it's like a big switch to Rafinha.
No,
because
no.
they're so good at shifting that in order to get to Rafinha with the way Barca plays, it probably takes 3 or 4 passes, and then they've already shifted over.
Yeah, it's probably a trailing run from a central midfielder with Dani Olmo or Pedri or whoever it is, and sort of just converting in that way.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, quickly, since you brought up Lamine Yamal, man, I mean, this kid is unreal. Like, I hear we've all heard for the last however many 10, maybe in 20 years, or more like 15. You know, the next Messi, the next Messi, the next this, the next that. Something about Yamal's performances, I am sold on him in a way that I don't think I've ever been sold on, you know, some essentially kid at this point. His performances are just, he's such a difference maker at such a young age, and he's done it on the biggest stages consistently. Whereas, you know, all these other people will have like one good game or a good month, and all of a sudden they're the next this or the next that. He's incredible. This guy is so good. I mean, I know I put up that story asking people, you know, you think he's going to be sort of in that conversation. And I'm not willing to do that at this point because he's 17 years old and there's so many potential pitfalls with, you know, injuries and just sort of something goes wrong with the club situation. Or more importantly, he just decides, you know, I don't want to be a robot. I want to enjoy life a little bit, which happens. Man, I'm a Yamal stan at this point. I don't even know when it happened.
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but when I watch him play, like, he reminds me more of Mo Salah in the last like 24 months than he does of Messi. And I'm saying in terms of like his overall style as opposed to the influence on the game. And I think that, like, Sam, what you're saying is more so like his ability to impact a game and take over a game, and one player can make a difference in that whole thing. But like his actual style and and his willingness to go for the home run pass and the Travellas and you know, just finding a way to get onto his left foot, using defenders as a screen when he wants to curl, like, you know, like he did on the goal. Like, everything is reminding me of Mo in that way, but like, again, like more Mo in the last 2 years as his legs have started to deteriorate just a little bit, as opposed to like Mo when he was fucking ripping through defenses for, you know, when he was 25, 26, 27.
100%. And that's why I didn't want to actually sort of go with the, you know, the next Messi thing, because his profile, as you guys would say, it doesn't really remind me of Messi. It's just the amount of impact he can have on a game is just incredible. Mitch?
Yeah, when you said that, I had a knee-jerk reaction to say, like, oh, this is just you gloating in a Premier League title. But no, you're very right. The decisions he makes, the way he finds the ball on his left foot, and the passes that he's willing to make are Salah-like. And nobody's going to play like Messi. Nobody has that type of archetype. But I think the only player that I can compare him to that I've watched during my football fandom during a time where my frontal lobe was fully developed was like an 18-year-old Mbappe. That's the type of game-changing energy that he has when he's on the ball. That's the type of attention that he demands from defenses. And obviously he doesn't play in the same way, but it's that type of, I can't use the word aura. It's that type of presence on the field that he commands. Kid's special.
The respect too from defenders. Last word on Lamine Yamal, if you want it, Tommy.
Yeah, for me, he reminds me more of Neymar than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to your point about like, hey, wanting to live a little bit, I think that plus injuries is what kind of caught up to Neymar.
Yep.
But it seems a little different with him. Like, he has that kind of European academy upbringing with the professionalism, the mentality that you just get from being in that environment in a young age. But you know, that some people say that if you're involved in that too long, you just become this robot. And I don't think he's become a robot. He's done the exact opposite, and he has that personality, charisma that everyone loved about Neymar. And so I think he is a perfect blend of what all these top professional clubs want, where they have, and obviously I don't know the kid at all or know anyone that knows the kid. They have the attributes to be a top professional off the field, but then they have the 1v1 unpredictability that you can't teach anyone. and that's what I think is super special about him, and is he has both. And in some cases, you have to give up on the one side to get more of the unpredictable 1v1 nature. And so that's where I think he's really special, is he can do his part without just kind of having the whole team form around him.
Yeah, Neymar's a good shout. It's not like that would be a bad career trajectory, even though a lot of the trolls.
No, and I think at that, like, Neymar was the next Messi, and then he's had a variety of injuries, the pressure, etc., that he's going to have to face. Like, they both had similar stardom at that age, so I think it's really important for them to manage that. And look, if he wins a Champions League, a Euro, and a La Liga title, and being the kind of one of the main driving forces, you're talking about him at 17 in something that stats wise, you'd put him in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
All right, fair enough. If Tommy says it, it's true. Now, lastly, on the Round the World segment, we have the minute that everybody's been waiting for, the best minute of my week. I can say that much. Tyler Terran's MLS Hit It and Quit It minute. Hit us, big boy.
All right, match day 11, and that means Tommy McCabe is going to go take his pee break. All right, let's start in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 1-1 is the final score between Atlanta and Nashville. Ronnie Dyla's side had lost 3 in a row, and their losing streak comes to an end, but Nashville were able to find an equalizer. Daniel Lovitz with the goal. 1-1 is the final score, and some problems right now for the Five Stripes. All right, let's head north of the border to Toronto, where fans are lining up at the gates, and they're ready to storm the castle. 2-0 at the hands of Carlos Gil and New England Revolution. Carlos Gil was able to score an absolute worldie with that wand of a left peg. New England with yet another win. I think they've rattled off 3 out of their last 4 in the win column, and Caleb Porter is starting to turn things around. Let's stay north of the border. Let's just go, I forget which direction is in Montreal is in relation to Toronto, but let's stay in that general area on the east side of Canada, and Montreal fall to Bradley Carnell and the Philadelphia Union by a score of 2-1. Meanwhile, in our nation's capital, and by our, I mean whoever you're listening globally, I'm saying the United States, DC United beat Colorado Rapids by a score of 2-1. Big win for Troy Lesesne and company. All right, let's go a little bit north to Columbus, Ohio, where Columbus were able to put up a 4 spot on a defense that a lot of people had fancied as one of the best in Major League Soccer. Dean Smith and company give up 4 to Wilfred Nancy. AZ Jackson was on the score sheet. Jason Russell Rowe was on the score sheet. That's 2 wins in a row following their first loss of the season against Miami on the heels of that win against the San Jose Earthquakes by a score of 2-1. They scored 6 goals in the last 3 games after getting shut out for the first time all year. Speaking of Inter Miami, they're angry coming off their CONCACAF Champions Cup loss to Vancouver Whitecaps in both legs, and they put Red Bulls to the sword by a score of 4-1. Lionel Messi, that little Argentinian kid, was on the score sheet as well. 3-goal win for Inter Miami. Meanwhile, Austin FC, led by, of course, Nico Estevez, and a defense that a lot of people would argue is the best in Major League Soccer. They give 3 goals to Eric Ramsey and Minnesota United, who had been struggling in a big way to find the back of the net at a consistent clip. They change up formations. They go to a 3-4-3. They typically were operating out of a 3-5-2. Joaquin Pereira was outstanding out on the left wing. Minnesota United 3, Austin FC 0. Meanwhile, in the Windy City, Chicago, they got more problems, man. 0-0 against Orlando City. Orlando make it 8 straight unbeaten, but 4 out of their last 5 games have been 0-0 draws. I don't know if I've ever seen a statistic like that before. Oscar Pareja is not going to be happy with the way that they followed up their most complete performance last weekend with arguably a stinker against the Chicago side that was down to 10 men for 55 minutes of this game after Chris Brady came out looking like the Karate Kid and just absolutely just sucker kick the Duncan McGuire across the chest as he was bearing down on goal. So 0-0 is the final score. San Diego FC put up a 5 spot on FC Dallas. 5-0 is the final score. Chucky Lozano getting man of the match honors on match day, the team of the match day, excuse me. Jesus, if I could find a way to talk, maybe it's these Dos Equis, and by Dos Equis, I mean Dos Equis, singular. I've only had one. Vancouver Whitecaps, man. This club is not real. Unbelievable. They win again. 2-1 is the final score. Tristan Blackman gets a goal. Pedro Vite was phenomenal again. Jaden Nelson opens up the scoring. Diego Luna got one late, but Vancouver, unbeaten in their last 10 in all competitions. They're in a CONCACAF Champions Cup final. They continue to rotate. They continue to win. This is arguably it's not arguably. I'm going to say it right now. This is the greatest start to a Major League Soccer season in the history of the league. 30 years this league has been around. This Vancouver team by far and away. It's not even fucking close. I'm just telling you how it is, man. You look at any team that made a deep run into a CONCACAF Champions Cup, and by the way, all 3 Canadian teams have gotten to a final in the last 10 years, Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto. This Vancouver side is unlike anything I've ever seen before. Nobody has been in the top 4 in their respective conference heading into a CONCACAF Champions Cup final, let alone be in the Supporter Shield pole position first place. They're incredible. It is the best Major League Soccer team I've seen through match day 11 ever. San Jose Earthquakes 4, Portland 1. That game was at PayPal Park in Northern California. Good look for Bruce Arena and company, and they certainly needed it. LAFC take care of a woeful Houston Dynamo side by a score of 2-0. Danny Boanga on the score sheet again. Seattle Sounders 4, St. Louis City 1. And despite a lot of injuries, Brian Schmetzer is getting a lot out of his group right now. Meanwhile, St. Louis, what is going on, man? It's almost like you shouldn't have fired Bradley Carnell and got rid of most of your roster after you were coming off one of the greatest expansion seasons in the history of professional sports in America. But what the fuck do I know? New York City 1, FC Cincinnati 0. FC Cincinnati's 5-match winning streak comes to an end. A dreadful performance in the Big Apple at the home of the New York Metropolitans, one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball, and the Pigeons come away victorious. Meanwhile, Sporting Kansas City do the impossible. They become the first ever Major League Soccer side to win a game without recording a shot. No, that's not a typo. No, you didn't just hear me misread something. I don't read anything for these. This is all off the top of the dome, and LA Galaxy is going to want to take anything to the dome to make the pain go away right now because they have still yet to win a game 11 match days in after they won MLS Cup. What was it, 5 months ago? Jesus Christ, figure it out. Or we got to figure out a way to be able to allow the MLS Cup winning side to retain some of their players following a win. Sporting Kansas City get it done. Kerry Zavagnin has been able to win a couple of games since the departure of Peter Vermees, and that would do it for match day 11 in Major League Soccer.
Oh, Tyler, you always outdo yourself. That was one of your better MLS minutes, I gotta say.
Was it?
Yeah, you nailed that one.
Whew, out of breath.
Quick, the only thoughts I had there, after talking a lot of shit about the Revs, do they maybe not suck? I'm starting to think maybe they don't suck.
I'll tell you, you know what changed it is Carlos Gil, like a true captain, basically took everybody out to dinner, paid for the bill, said, tranquilo, let's relax. We're fine. We've got good talent. They also were missing Leo Campana for like the first 7 or 8 match days.
Yep.
Thomas Chunklai, another one of their DPs, wasn't really available. So they had one DP operating this entire time. And I think that they were struggling to find the right recipe on top of the fact that they just didn't have the horses to do it. And obviously we know that this club doesn't get a ton of investment. And when your investments aren't able to play, then it makes it difficult. But I've always thought Carlos Gil is one of the best playmakers in Major League Soccer, hands down. So if he has the pieces around him, and his best season was like 4 goals and 18 assists, he needs people to be able to dish the ball off to, and now he's finally got it.
The only other thing, Orlando, this team's season is just all over the map. So they started out being like an overtrained hero team. Like, look at the number of goals in their first however many games. 6, 3, 4, 5, 3. From then on, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0. What the fuck? They're just the absolute nightmare.
They were bad. And fair play to Chicago. They were the better team with 10 men. And Philip Zinkernagel, if you didn't see that solo run that he went on the left wing at Soldier Field, go check it out. Snatching souls. 30-year-old Danish guy who just he's a baller. Proper baller.
Who played for Bodo earlier this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh. By the way, we didn't get to the Europa League. Oh.
That's okay.
Nah,
fine.
Let me say this. It's
over. Maybe you guys might fuck it up. You might fuck it
up.
No,
Bodo Spurs, as I'm looking into that one. Hey, that last minute goal was big time.
It was huge.
It was. I would say that. I was very happy and then not nearly as happy when they scored that goal. And that's in this game, this return leg, being on the AstroTurf and being on sort of just a totally different, 8,000 people stadium. It's gonna be tough. And I think Madison's not going to make the trip. Yeah, I'll say this. I'm nervous. I think United will make it through. I do think we get through. I'm a little nervous. If we hadn't given up that goal at the end, I'd be a lot less nervous. All right. Let's finish strong here, boys and girls. Stoppage time. Where you know what happens. Oh, yeah, we got the hat. Okay, Ivan Toney's best bets, where we will start with the overtrain. 5-a-side. We're coming off of a 4-1 week. We bounced back well off of one of our done actually pretty well on the overtrain recently, but we did have a down week 2 and 3 the week before. Came back strong with 4-1. I feel good this week as well. So overtrain, 5-a-side, 1 pick a day, Wednesday through Sunday. These are all going over. So Wednesday we're going to start in the Saudi League. Al Nasser. They're mad coming off of the Champions League loss. So Ronnie and Al Nasser are going to score $1 million on Al Ittihad, who probably will score as well. Thursday, we're going to Europa League. I do think that game's probably going to go over. I don't feel great about it. But Bodo was going to definitely score. Hopefully we score. So do the math on that. There's a good chance it'll go over. Friday, we're going to the Belgian League. Sporting Charleroi is hosting Westerlo. Saturday, we're going to the Chinese Super League. Shandong Taishan is hosting Zhejiang Professional. That was it. Thank you. I appreciate that. With your eyes, you gave me a little bit of a round of applause there. I appreciate that. Sunday, we're going to the Bundesliga, where even I can pronounce this, no problem. Leverkusen is hosting Dortmund. Okay. Ivan Toney's best bets. Mitchell, what do you got for us?
I got 3 games. They are all the 10 a.m. slate in the Premier League on Saturday. Let's keep it all domestic. We have Brentford -1.5 against Ipswich, which is, they're giving you shockingly good odds on that, +152. City -1.5 against Southampton, and both teams to score in Wolves Brighton. Put them all together, you're at +530.
Okay. All right. There we go. Tyler, what are we looking at?
I am also on that 10 o'clock train Eastern time, and I've got Everton money line, Brentford money line, Wolves money line. It's a cool +1721.
Okay. Casual as you like, +1700. All right, Tommy.
I'm going Arsenal win, Spurs loss in regulation.
Is this the weekend, or is this the Europa Champions League?
Champions League, Europa.
Europa Champions.
Midweek action.
Who gives a fuck about the weekend at this point?
I've been saying that for about 3 months now.
I got one
Okay.
more. If you care for a nice, easy +200, Tyler, what am I going to say? Celtics in 5. Bet the exact number of games. Celtics to win 4-1. Celtics in 5 games is +200. It's free money. It really is at this point.
These two were having words before we got on the.
I like how me and Tyler coordinated our Knicks fandom in colors today.
Yeah,
why don't you put on your hat, Tommy?
New Jersey all the way. Hey.
All right. We'll move on. No hat needed. GOAWs time. Everybody's favorite segment, especially Mikey. Now that he understands it. I actually only got one, so I hope you guys don't take it this week. But why don't you go first, Mr. Tommy McGunner?
All right. I'm keeping mine super close to home. Our head coach, Ryan Martin, just had his first kid this weekend. Baby boy named Finn. So he is my GOA for this week.
Congratulations on the sex, sir. Mitchell Goulet, what you got for us?
You know how to take a beautiful moment and just put it in the garbage can. I got 2. One kind of uncertain one, and then one positive one. The uncertain one is Yakuba Minte, who scored against Newcastle and then appeared to almost reject the idea of being owned by Brighton in this scenario. He kept doing this, wagging his finger and saying, no, I am not Brighton. This is how I'm interpreting it. But if you've seen the celebration from this weekend, you know that it was like, that's kind of a weird, I don't know, unclear way to celebrate a goal that you've just scored. He used to play for Newcastle. Newcastle is his parent club, but just a really weird one. And I think it's almost okay to like celebrate a little bit. You don't have to be super clear that like, no, my heart is with you, the fans that I just scored on. Just an overall strange scenario. And then we've got Natasha Bedingfield, who is my other GOA. She went in the Burnley locker room and sang with the Burnley players to celebrate their promotion. Just an absolute banger. And who knew that she was a huge football fan?
Good show. Tyler, what do you got for us?
Jamie Vardy, who in the middle of his match with the referee going down, needing to stop the play, took the whistle of the referee who was down and out for the count and blew it to stop the play dead, as if that was the plan all along. It's just really quick thinking from our guy, who's remains undefeated in those types of moments in the Premier League.
That's the witty British humor, just like coming to life under pressure.
Yep.
It really is. Shithouse God. All right. So my Goa, unfortunately, it's a -1. So Wolverhampton, the club, the women's team, it plays in I don't know what it's called, essentially the women's championship, which is right below the Super League. And
Do the Spurs women play in that too?
they do not. They do not. We are hanging around mid-table of the Super League, where our men's team would love to be at some point in the next few seasons. No, but the Wolves, the Lady Wolves, they earned promotion. The team was good enough to be promoted to the Super League. The club itself did not apply for promotion because from what I've read anyway, it sounds like the club didn't want to pay their wages, because if you go up to the Super League, they would be, full professionals, and obviously you'd have to get paid more. So the club didn't actually apply for promotion. And so it sounds like, at least last I heard, the team is going to have to play in the championship, the second tier all over again, which is so just the PR hit from this is probably going to be enough for them to, I assume, maybe pull a 180 and be like, oh, okay, actually, yeah, we just forgot to file the paperwork or something. But what a terrible, terrible look for everybody involved, and especially for the players who played this whole season, based on the hope and dreams of playing in the top flight league. And then the club's like, oh yeah, by the way, nah, we're not doing that. What a shitty thing to do. So hopefully, they can come to the table and agree that, maybe their first instinct was the wrong one, and they actually apply for promotion, because obviously the players deserve it. And I'm sure, their fans want to move up as well. So do the right thing, Wolverhampton. I guess that's the moral of the story there. All right, everybody, Mitchell, Tyler, Tommy, Mikey, full crowd here. Felt good to have the band back together. Everybody in the Discord chat and in the Discord period. If you're not there, get in the Patreon so you can get on the Discord and join us. We will be back bigger, better, faster, stronger next week, hopefully with multiple teams still alive in Europe. Fingers crossed.